taught me how to ring a bell. So without further ado, please welcome Engo.
Well, thank you. I hope I don't disappoint. I actually got the call to do this talk a few days ago. Our regularly scheduled Dharma speaker double booked, and so you get me. Um, and Not quite sure. I haven't really sat down and prepared anything. I have a specific talk in mind. I Dharma talk to myself all the time. But I don't speak outwardly that often. And if I trigger anybody or, uh, you know, upset anyone with what I say, you're welcome. Your angst is your liberation. I certainly hope to give you liberation. Um, as they say, obstacles are don't block the path; they are the path. So we'll see where this goes. I don't know if it'll be a pathway or if it'll be a meandering walk through a field. But the talk, yes, is Zen. What's in it for me? Um, and I come to this largely because, I notice a lot of struggle or a lot of comments or judgments or opinions about, what we're in it for. Why do we come to Zen? Why do we come to this spiritual practice? And oh, so many people come, it's all about them. They want to wake up, they want to liberate themselves and be free of suffering. And they're so selfish or narcissistic, or there's something, these people, they're in it for them. And others, it's supposed to be for everyone else. I'm here to serve others. I'm here to serve others. Uh, I want to liberate all beings. I want to help everybody wake up. It's about them. It's not about me. Okay, well, I'll let you know I'm in it for me. Just so you know where I land. But I've heard it taught over the many, many years from Junpo, and really especially I loved the way Doshin would teach it on the many retreats I did with him. He's like, it's all the same path. And he would describe it as a circle. It didn't much matter where you came in on the path or which way you were going. It's all about me, 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 me. Oh, it's all about everyone else, everyone else, everyone. And which part of no self do you fail to understand? It's about me? Who? It's about other? Who? Who are you in it for? Me, me, me. Okay. Keep going, keep going. Wake up. No self, no other. Ah, ding. It's all about the others. It's others. I'm going to be self. I'm going to do it for everybody else. There's nobody else. Ding. Hey. We've all arrived at the same place. So, that's kind of the whole gist and point of all of this. Take a look, hold it loosely. Hold all the teachings like this, like cupping water. When you find yourself, they're doing it the wrong way. What are they? Relax. We're all going to wind up in the same place. We're already there. But what really, I was laying in bed the other night when Ekai asked me if I would do the talk, and he was like, "And could you just give us a topic for the talk?" And I was like, "Ah, crap, what's?" And I was dozing off, and all of a sudden, Zen, what's in it for me, came to me, and it was about. It had a lot to do with compassion. Um, my last year, where I've largely been gone, to any of those of you who know me, 2021, I never fully disappeared because I wasn't trying to make a statement of I'm out of here, this. I kept my toes in the water enough to where my face was around. But I 2021 was a my new term for it, which I came up with, I think last Mondo Cafe, was I had a wonderfully toxic year, unquestionably the most toxic year of my life. And I'll share briefly about it, only because I don't put on any pretenses. I don't, I'm not hiding who or what I am. And I'm also not dragging it out neurotically, needing to do a big cleanup in front of the world. But I'll share self-proclaimed. I'm an alcoholic, meaning, and I drank much of my life, and I just find that I just don't have a very good ability to really control it. Once I start drinking, it's like it wants more and more. The alcohol, so I recognize the alcoholic in me. And I'm not a 12 stepper, and I have no judgments against 12 stepper. I think it's a great path. It was just me. I'm like this. Somehow the vow of, however deep and elusive my shadow states are, I vow to experience and enlighten them all. And I'm like, oh God, okay. So I'll simply sum it up by saying I drank a lot last year with all the angst around COVID, the world, what was going on, and just my internal darkness. I was in a nasty, ugly battle. And I'm here to happily say I think I drank my alcoholic to death last year. That's certainly how it feels. It finally hit the point where the alcoholic was like, a drink? Ugh. I just say that to let you know how human I am. Project onto me all you want about how lovely Engo is, how enlightened he is, what a great heart, whatever it is you're projecting on me, and the shit, whatever crap, I'll gladly hold the projections. But I want you to know I am deeply, deeply human and will be till the moment I draw my last breath. But the beauty that that toxic year gave to me was it showed me just how much compassion I didn't have for humanity and for those out there. And give a fuck. In fact, I was getting downright angsty toward humanity. And it opened my eyes up. And I saw a talk recent, I don't know if it was last Sunday Sangha or whatever, but Umi gave a talk, No One Cares. And I was like, I got to still thank him for that one. I was like, how nice for him to customize a Dharma talk just for me. Because I was like, bam, baby. I sat there looking out at what was going on in our world, and I was about as uncompassionate. I actually started referring to myself as the anti-Buddha in the sense of the Antichrist almost. And all the while, my eyes were getting clearer and clearer, and I was like, damn. And this isn't to be immodest, but I was like, I am far more awake than I ever thought or ever gave myself credit for. The clarity, looking out, I was like, wow. And I'm less and less compassionate. How do I resolve this? And then I saw Umi's talk and I was like, bam, that's it. Because much of my compassion has been trained into me, taught to me. I'm supposed to care about other people. I'm a bad priest if I don't care about other people. Get back to be compassionate, be loving. No. Avaloki Tejvara, right? Teaching to Shariputra. The god, the goddess of compassion, never once mentions compassion in the Heart Sutra. I love that. It's like, no, go deeper, Shari, go deeper, go deeper. Know this, know this. Your insight isn't deep enough. Well, I'm here to proclaim I feel more awake than I ever have, and I will proclaim my insight is not deep enough. It's got I feel like I'm dipping my toes in the rabbit hole that goes infinitely down. It's more awake than I used to be. Go deeper, go deeper, go deeper into wisdom. Because Junpo was the one who said it again and again on retreats. He said he can't explain it, but whatever he would reintegrate, so to speak, to this Homo sapien form, and I can only interpret that from something I've never experienced. I assume he is dissolved into shunyata or some such, and then reintegrating. And he'd always do the theatrical, coming back online, but he'd say he couldn't explain it. But compassion, overwhelming love and compassion was the first thing that came online. He said it almost made him a theist. Again and again he would declare, he goes, but he couldn't explain it. And I said, that's it. That's what I'm looking for. Because this compassion isn't the compassion I experience. This compassion opens infinitely to every molecule in the universe effortlessly. And I look out and I look at all of us beautiful practitioners, compassionate, loving, caring, looking out, taking maybe the other path, the others. It's all about the others. It's about the others. And I encourage anybody who's on that particular path, stay there. It's beautiful. And take a look at yourself. Is there anything in you that says, I'm not worthy? I'm not good enough? Or are you being compassionate for yourself as well? And I include the narcissists and the self people on this path. Take a look at that too and see if there's something in there that says, the others aren't, what is it, the judgments? What am I putting on others? But I'm looking for this compassion that's not of me, ego me. The compassion that's undeniable, that opens everywhere. And for those of us bringing our compassion to the world, I want to say, take a look. Is your compassion authentic? Is it for everyone? Do you have compassion for Putin right now? Do you have compassion for the Russian soldiers right now? In America, do we have compassion for Trump and his supporters right now? Do we have compassion for the alt-right? Ugh. Or do we have selective compassion? I hope I'm, triggering some people. Again, because I've got selective compassion and not a whole lot of it. I'm just self-declaring. Hey, this is what I'm looking out and seeing. This is what I'm experiencing. And this is why Avaloki Tejvara. Shh, sit down, shut up, go deeper. And I'm not just saying to disappear onto your cushion and only get out there, fake it till you make it. Just be honest with yourself about faking it till you make it with your compassion. And some of the compassion's authentic. Keep sharing that. But be real clean and clear with yourself. Be honest with yourself. Where is it flowing from? What are you in this for? What's going on? Yeah, what's in it for me? Hopefully waking up and seeing through the illusion of me while continuing to carry and love the me. Me does not go away when I see through the illusion of me. It just no longer drives the bus. I'm working at making my ego the servant, the one who rides right there on the bus, but jumps out of the bus to go do the work when the absolute, when the awakened, when the light, when Atadipa moves me and says, hey, ego, here's something meaningful for you to go do. So what's in it for me? I want to wake up. Me. And I trust that I'll along the way I'll share every drop I've got along the way with anyone. And I think that makes me in it for others as well. It's two sides of the same one-sided coin. And I need to stop every now and then in the middle of talking to see if, I think I've expressed what I had up until now, but there are other little nuggets maybe floating around. And what just keeps popping into my head is, any questions at this moment? I think I've spoken enough. Anybody, just unmute yourself if you want to yell at me, if you want to question me, whatever it might be.
Yeah, I want to say something to you. Engo, I see your compassion. It's shining everywhere. From the very first moment I saw you. When I think of this very first Mondo Zen online retreat, you were Jiki. I was so astonished about you. Your clarity, your strength. You're just beautiful. And we met. You were my first one I met online, one-on-one. And I'm so happy that you're back. And each tear in your eyes, each little drop of your fluid in your body is just filled with compassion. Don't bullshit yourself. You haven't already.
I'll own it. Fair enough. Anyone else? A question, a challenge? I'm ready for Dharma combat from here. So I'll go further. I'll see if I can throw another trigger out there. The big part of 2021 and my angst and it was around COVID, and I'm not going to bring a whole COVID talk into here. I don't want to trigger everybody that much. I'll do that separately, and then you could choose to watch it or not if I put it online somewhere, and you could just turn it off. But I'll go so far as to say unfortunately, I watched what I judged to be insanity masquerading as compassion over the last 2 years. I fall very differently from most spiritual communities about where I come down on what we did about COVID. And by insanity, I'll just give one example. This concept of save everybody, save every last human being. Okay, that's not compassion, that's impossible. And it's insanity, and I judge we dropped millions of people on the healthcare system and asked those poor people to save everyone. And they tried. That's insane. I won't go any further on this one. I'm going to trigger myself if I get going. So I'm just saying, be careful, be really clear, and just keep investigating what you see as love and compassion and policies and what we're doing. Saving every last physical being. My judgment is not compassion. It created untold harm, unfathomable harm that we inflicted on humanity attempting to do the impossible. So that had a lot to do with my 2021. I'm also a self-declared empath. Um, and I can't stand empaths. They drove me nuts for years, and I finally figured out why. It was I just, oh, I don't feel myself. I feel everybody else. I feel the energy around me, and I was like, oh, God. And then finally one day it hit me. Oh my God, I feel the energy of everything around me, and I can, and it really gets into me. And then I don't get when I don't recognize it, I just start reacting to the energy inside of me, and I drink, and other things occur, and it's ugly. So I'm an empath, and I don't hate empaths anymore, but get clear with it. Don't just disappear into it, and look and feel into the compassion, feel into the truth. And is it me and my story on the surface, or is this Atadeepa? Is this the light flowing through me and expressing itself compassionately into the world? And I'm not here to judge you about you may see good clarity on that, you may not, but keep practicing, keep coming back to Sangha. We'll help you, you help us. And I trust that we will go exactly where we need to be. The unfolding is perfect. And I'll just leave it there. I'll say one more moment. If there's anything anybody wants to ask or say,
Engo.
I'll just turn it back over to Busho.
Engo.
Who unmuted? Somebody. Ah, Heisoku.
Yes. So I feel your truth. I enjoy your truth. The question that comes to me from the beginning of the talk, you talked about trigger. Whether you trigger us or the triggers that you received. What is the benefit of the trigger? What is the benefit of the trigger for you? And then what's the trigger for me? What's the benefit? What do we get out of this?
It points out where our angst is. I think the benefit of the trigger is to bring about the moment where I get to take a look and make a choice. It's the discomfort. I don't really need to do a lot to wake up or be present when I'm feeling wonderful about everything. I've never had a real problem with joy. But that trigger, ooh. Oh, this is what Jumpo's saying. Your angst is your liberation. So the trigger points out the angst and gives me an opportunity to learn and go deeper. That's, I think, what I would say.
So then, do we wallow in the trigger? Do we wallow in the angst?
Only as long as we need to until we recognize and choose differently.
Okay. So I'm going to sit with that. And I'm just, I guess in my mind, it says to me, are you playing in the trigger? Are you playing there? Because you kept going back to it, and you kept going back to it, and you kept going back to it. And in my mind, it's saying, all right, why is Engo playing in the trigger? So I love you, brother. Peace and blessings.
Busho.
Thank you, Engo.
So I gave a Dharma talk this morning on Sunday Sangha called Zen, What's in It for Me? And afterwards, I realized that I'm sure there were a number of points that I forgot to bring up, but this one struck me as, I think, particularly important. So I wanted to come back and record this and send it out and maybe addendum it to the original talk. But um, it's regarding, and I'll tie it in after I share what I say here to the original talk, but um, it's regarding our talk about our opinion of nonviolence, or our stance of nonviolence. And I wanted to distinguish that clearly from pacifism, um, because of what's going on in our world right now. And this is a teaching that I heard many times directly from Jumpo, and it's a tough one, it's a tricky one. Um, but nonviolence it doesn't mean just being a pacifist doormat and being rolled over and walked on or violated. Jumpo, I would see him at retreats teaching, if there's a child here, or a person, a vulnerable person who's being attacked, and Jumpo saying, no, you're not going to violate this person, this child, this whomever. I'm going to stop you because it's not okay. And if I have to, I'll kill you. And now this is, like I say, it's tricky. I do believe Jumpo's insight and his sincerity and his clarity was deep enough to really pull this off, where he would say, I'm highly skilled. I'm going to do everything I can not to kill you. Please don't make me do that. Please help me understand. How can we work through this? But you're not going to violate this. I'll break your knees, I'll break your arms, but not out of anger, not out of a curl of violence, but instead out of deep, deep caring and deep sadness. I don't view you as bad, wrong, evil, but I have to stop you. And if worse comes to worse, I'll take your life, but with tremendous grief, sadness, deep caring. Please, let's find a better way. And that's very different than pacifism of just, no, I'll never raise my fist against you. Well, and I bring that up because in the talk earlier, I was speaking about our compassion, and, do we have absolute compassion? The compassion that arises out of this depth of awareness, this depth of insight? Or do we have selective compassion? Compassion for the ones that we care about, and perhaps not for others. And part of what I said was, does anybody, do we have compassion for Putin right now? And I'll even add this. You might say, well, why on earth would we have compassion for him? Well, look at the anger. Look at the violence. Look at the horror being perpetrated on Ukraine and the world by this man. Well, boy, what's underneath that kind of anger and violence? Fear and sadness, deep caring. Do you see how he must suffer, even if that's not on the surface? So compassion for Putin. But that doesn't mean, okay. No, Putin, no. Stop. It's necessary. If we have to, we'll kill you. But out of deep sadness and caring, because this is wrong. And now these are extreme examples. But anywhere in life, this does not mean not holding a boundary and ridiculous, idiot, pacifist compassion. Oh, it's not about that either. It's, can we hold a boundary where this is protected, but you're not vilified? And again, my insight's not deep enough. There'd be a big curl of violence, I suspect, in my ability to implement that. But as I practice, as I continue to work and try to deepen my insight and authentically open up this compassion that I hear about. Compassion for everything and everyone. I'll keep working on it. And so I just think that was important to say, because without pointing that out, just asking, do you have compassion for Putin, could be radically misunderstood, or anybody who is out there perpetrating horrors upon people, and still compassion for them too. Um, so anyway, I hope that adds something to the talk. And again, as I say, I remain open to any questions, challenges, or anything. Always reach out to me at any time.